What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Blitz City podcast. And listen, I have been gone for the whole week. That's because, I have my son this week. And if y'all know anything about messing with a 2-year-old, you ain't got time to do nothing because you constantly chasing them around. But listen, we back, all right? And we back with another episode of FBS Fridays with my guy Blue from the Blue Bloods. And, of course, my guy Clay McCarter. Y'all, what's going on, man?
What's up,
What's
fellas?
up?
I feel like there's not much after the introduction, after the conversation we had in
Yeah.
the studio.
Yeah.
let's talk about football.
All right. So I want to start off with an interesting hire for TCU that I saw. Art Browse's son is going to be the offensive coordinator for TCU. Now, when I saw it, I saw a lot of writers who really had a problem with it because of the whole Art Browse situation at Baylor and how they felt like he kind of played a part in that. So is this the right thing? Will we ever get over the whole Art Browse in Baylor situation? Are they not allowed to get a head coaching job in college football again because of what happened? And if so, right, and after that, what do you think about this hire for TCU? Would this change anything for them going forward, or is this just a fill the gap kind of hire?
Oh, I mean, so for me, it's so tough because it's like you could take it back to any scandal across college football, whether it's the Penn State situation, whether it's what happened at Ole Miss with Hugh Freeze. Like, are we just going to say that if you were an assistant on the staff who potentially may have had a hand in something, you can never work again? Because that would rule out a lot of people
Right.
for their career. So at that time, man, Kendall Browse was what, like an assistant? He wasn't even like a coordinator, a position. He was like a graduate assistant or something crazy like that. Man, you can't say that kid was the mastermind behind the whole situation and knew everything that was going on. Was he? Does he deserve some blame? Yes, but the fact that he's already had a job at the P5 level and have had jobs at other places, I don't understand why people are having like selective outrage about it right this second.
Yeah, I would say chiming in on what you said about if that's the case, where if assistants have to be grouped into what the coach, the head coach of the head coach is the CEO. The CEO is always going to have to take all the fire if it's one of his guys or if he's the one doing it. But like you're saying, if you're going to go into every single scandal, say goodbye to the entire Ohio State coaching staff over the last 5 years, say goodbye to the entire Tennessee coaching staff, probably Kentucky's, Notre Dame's, Florida from 2004 all the way to probably 2016, maybe even a little earlier. Let's go back. Spurrier wasn't a saint, but you got to go into, you got to start doing the dirt on everybody. So, as far as what the question itself is asking, does it change anything for them? It brings a little notoriety to the program that may be unwarranted. But if he's got some of the similar genes, and if at the end of the day, I think Sonny Dykes is I wouldn't say upcoming, but he's a pretty respectable guy, especially after what they accomplished last season. I think that this is going to be one of those things where if a guy like Sonny Dykes can coach them up that first year, and they have great success, hopefully, he's not going to be bringing anything in that he didn't think was going to be an impact to the program. You know what I mean?
Right.
And with quarterback too, I know a lot of people are questioning the Duggan loss. They're about to start the quarterback who beat out Duggan for the starting job. And the only reason Duggan got the starting job back is because Morris got hurt. And Kendall Browse was one of the lead recruiters in his recruitment and is really close friends with his dad, Chad Morris. So I really do think they're going to have great chemistry. And TCU easily could repeat in the Big 12 this year.
So with the addition of Kendall Browse, do you think this kind of sets him up for another run, or how do you think he's going to come in for TCU and handle this offense?
I'd say it's going to be tough to say that are we pairing them up for another run? You know what I mean? Like the graphic showed, and we touched on this already, and I think everybody in America has also seen, pairing them up for another run isn't just here we are, we already did it one time, that on paper, they're not a very, very deep team. And they also, honestly, in modern football, run a pretty questionable defensive scheme when they play guys that can literally air you out or attack you getting sideline to sideline. You know what I mean? Crossers and, just little chunk plays, throwing the ball out of the backfield. Things like that is I think he's going to have some minor tweaks. But after what they did, I think that the next coming couple classes could stem some good recruits for them, because I think Jimbo Fisher's getting fired here soon, so the A&M stuff's going to slow down. I think that Texas is literally putting their entire program in Sarkisian to have Arch Manning do this, and if Arch Manning doesn't do this, then Texas is going to go full total rebuild again.
Yeah.
And then that puts TCU in the prime time, because TCU is typically competitive. Throughout history, they are. They've had some big names. They've had Hall of Famers. They've had my favorite NFL player of all time be their best player of all time. So I don't know. I mean, I think this is going to be the beginning wake to see if TCU can start being one of the big dogs.
Yeah, they're going to have to get past K-State. K-State's returning a lot of talent, and that program has been trending upwards.
Did they retain their quarterback?
I believe so. I think he had 2 years of eligibility due to COVID.
Oh, yeah, because everybody's 8th-year junior. That's right.
Yeah, that's so hard with eligibility. I'm so ready for that to expire, because at this point, man, you got like 7th, 8th year, 6th year, 5th year. I mean, it's like 3 years they've played and they're still a true freshman. It's like, how is this even possible?
But I have a bunch of 30-year-olds graduating college next year, I swear.
Yeah. All right, so moving on to UGA. All right, Monken is set to take a NFL interview with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which was his old position in the NFL, if I'm not mistaken, which I know that's your team, Clay.
That was confirmed, by the way. That was confirmed. He has an interview set up in place with the brass of Tampa Bay. That has already been 100% confirmed.
He's going to take that interview, and if he gets the job, which I don't see why he wouldn't at this point, who should be able to replace Monken at UGA? When I was reading up on it, they said something about offensive quality coach who's already on the UGA staff, who could potentially be the replacement. But to you guys, who should be the replacement for UGA?
Dale McGee, no question. No need to even have a debate. He's coached running backs there. He's been pretty much like co-OC under Monken. He's waited his time. He has SEC experience elsewhere, even at Auburn, as an Auburn guy, SEC guy, one of the top recruiters for Georgia, has been the lead recruiter for a lot of the offensive 5-stars that they've landed. Promote Dale McGee from the inside. You're loaded on talent regardless, man, and go repeat as SEC East champions. I don't think you have to overthink it. I think Dale McGee is the guy, and I really would be surprised if they don't bring him to the offensive coordinator role.
Let me ask you a question, Blue. Do you think that Dale McGee's qualifications and where he's been at and what he's cultivated in the program would, and I hate to use the word trump, the possibility of maybe upgrade for Mike Bobo? Because Mike Bobo's he is on staff as an analyst.
Yeah, he is. It's just the last time we saw Bobo in the conference, it wasn't the best.
True.
So that would give me hesitation. And so I either one of those I think would be the move. I just don't see Kirby going out there and taking a risk on someone who isn't already in the program. Because for me, you want to elevate someone who knows the standard, who has relationships with the recruits that you're already building relationships with. You already know what's going on in the building. Don't overthink it and try to bring in an outsider who may kind of mess up the chemistry behind the scenes that has been integral in you having this run to the national title.
Another thing that I think needs to be looked at really closely, because I wouldn't say it's predictable, but it's one of those things where you see how Kirby runs his program, and he learned from the absolute greatest of all time. And the way that those guys do things, and if you look back on it, they're very big on familiarity with guys that have been around the situation that they have been in and are willing to do the things that the coach wants them to do. So if you look at like the Bill O'Brien, the Sarkisian, and all the things that have happened at Alabama with going out and getting these guys that get fired from these programs, which are tier 1 programs, like picking up Muschamp for them had a much bigger impact than I think a lot of people really understand, because Muschamp is, when they're his talent in his favor, he's probably one of the top 5 best defensive coordinators in college football, arguably. Yeah. But, I mean, it's going to be one of those things where I think he's going to go with a very familiar face, or he upgrades from within the program, which that's the whole point, having all these GAs and analysts and guys that you hire to do it. You have to have a squad of Butch Joneses on your staff to be able to hopefully get them to elevate and come back and do it. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right.
That was a
So
Tennessee. That was a little bit of a Tennessee like right jab, real quick, because
I was about to say, yeah, that was an elbow.
yeah, I have to.
all right. So moving on to the draft. Kayshawn Boutte, Zach Evans. Obviously, they're in the draft, but would they have benefited from staying? Those two specifically, would they have benefited from staying another year in college football? Maybe not so much Zach Evans. It depends on how some people look at it. Like, nah, this is just time to go. Other people said he should have stayed. But Kayshawn Boutte, like, what do you guys think on these two? So would they have benefited from staying another year in college?
I agree. I mean, just based off of what you said, I agree that Boutte should probably have stayed one more and kind of let it try to see how it played out. But I think, with running backs, it's so tough, man. It really is, because you have to think they're literally one injury to where, I mean, at the same time, it's a lot of football players. They're one injury away from, if they get hurt in the legs, you go from possibly being a first or second day pick to possibly an undrafted free agent. Or if you can show a little bit at the combine, or you can show a little bit in Senior Bowl or whatever it is to kind of keep you a little bit of a late round stock. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think that Zach Evans, I think he had a great year. I think that he's going to get drafted and maybe he just develops a little bit in the league. But I'd say more so Boutte, I think that it would have been probably more beneficial for him to rock out one more year.
Zach Evans didn't have a choice. Zach Evans wasn't going to play next year. He got his job taken last year by a true freshman. It just, he had to either leave or transfer. Like, there wasn't any coming back to Ole Miss. He wasn't going to see the time. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, the kid won the Mississippi Player of the Year award this year as a true freshman. And listen, Quinshon Judkins is legit. From Pike Road, Alabama. Got to see him in high school. The kid is unbelievable. He's going to be a superstar at the next level. But Evans had no choice. And like you said, running backs, the more carries you have, the less chance you have at the next level. But for Boutte, it really came down to, do you want to make a run for a national championship? LSU is going to be loaded next season. You had a chance to really go out in there and compete for the SEC again. But I can see it, man. I don't know what he's probably going to be. What, a second, third round pick right now? So you're really just
who all do we have declared? Because running back, in my opinion, who I thought was going to be RB1 on the board would have been Blake Corum, in my opinion.
Oh, I was talking about Boutte. Evans probably like a day 3 pick.
Okay.
Yeah, like, because with the wide receivers, you got Johnston from TCU is going to go really high. Jackson Smith from Ohio State's going to go pretty high as well. I'm trying to think off the top of my head some of the other top receivers. The kid Zay Flowers from Boston College, probably going to go pretty high as well. But so I just don't see Boutte. Or Jordan Addison, day 1 pick as well. So that's 4 guys right now that are going to go ahead of Boutte. So you're probably looking at early second round, mid second round. Do you really want to risk injury and everything for a potential first round? And the next year, the wide receiver class is probably going to be just as loaded.
Oh, Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah. So why not just go ahead and come out and go get your money?
Hyatt declared too, right?
Yeah, Jalen Hyatt's there. He's probably a second round pick too. I think he was probably
I would say so.
Yeah, I don't think he had a longevity argument to be a.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, speaking on top guys at the college level, we all know Brian Reese was the #1 recruit in the country when he came out of high school. Now he's a part of this upcoming draft class. I want to know from you guys, do you think Brian Reese has lived up to that #1 recruit in the country expectation during his career at Clemson? Has he lived up to the hype? Has he underperformed? What do you guys say?
I think he lived up to it. If you watch the film, he lived up to it. Now, what happened with him is he didn't get the luxury of some of those old Clemson defensive linemen where they were winning national titles with him. But when you look at the stats, when you look at his production in the film, and the fact he's going to be a top 10 pick this year, I think that's living up to the hype in my opinion.
I would say I would agree and say, at first I was kind of questioning. I was like, the #1 hype, I'm thinking collegiate level, but I'm also trying to think of where his projections are. I would say yes, but also I would say yes in terms of what he's getting ready to accomplish by being that high of a draft pick. And also, like you say, with the whole film thing, I have a bunch of Clemson friends, and if I'm ever hanging out with them and I watch the games, which I don't pay attention to Clemson extremely close. I don't. I'm a big SEC guy, and then I watch other games that I think are good matchups. But I think you watch him, he is getting a lot of double teams.
True.
Like a lot of double teams because Clemson doesn't still have that luxury of what it was when you have Dexter Lawrence, Cleveland Farrell at the same side of the field, where the next guy right there, I mean, you only have so many O-linemen, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And one of those guys is getting double teamed, so now we're down to 3, unless we have a tight end or somebody's picking up another block or something. But I'd say yes because he's going to be drafted high, and I think he has the frame to be able to do something in the NFL. So I would agree.
All right, now finally we get to the topic that I want to talk about because Coach has been sending me articles, and yeah, you know where I'm going with this. But first, before we even get to him specifically, let me get to a quote by Mel Kiper in all his glory himself. Mel Kiper, he had a quote on Will Levis, and
good God, I didn't know where you were going with it until. You said his name. I'm sitting here, I was confused. I was about to scroll through the topics again. I'm like, oh, hold on.
Doug, Will Levis is people are talking about him being the first quarterback off the board, being the number 1 pick. There are quite a few articles on that. So Mel Kiper came out and said, he's big and he can run. Who cares if he threw 23 picks in 2 years? He was trying to make plays. What are your thoughts on that? Because when I heard it, I couldn't believe he said it until I actually watched the video and heard it from his mouth. What are your thoughts on that, man?
Let me get this out of my chest and out of my soul because the deepest amount of despise I have for this man, just for it's not even I've never even met him, I've never shook his hand, but the despise that I have for him strictly off the fact of he puts mayonnaise in coffee. That is serial killer tenacity. And he should be locked up and thrown in jail. Call his mom, pick him up, take him to jail. What I'm going to go with in terms of the question, dude, the normalization of these of where we are in the NFL over the last couple of years, and we've already talked about this, with you give these guys because they have the frame or you think that they have the potential, the Daniel Joneses, the Mitch Trubisky's, and there's definitely a longer list there of guys that you're like, well, hold on, he could possibly do this or whatever. But you have guys in the same draft with the names and resumes of Bryce Young,
CJ
Stroud. You have guys who are going to be even smaller than that. You're telling me that Will Levis is a better quarterback than Max Duggan?
I wouldn't take him.
I don't think anybody.
Tanner McKee from Stanford's a better quarterback than him.
I don't think he was better than Nick Leary. I don't think he's better than Nick Leary. Really, I don't.
Here's a hot take for me. I'd rather take Stetson Bennett.
100%. 110.
Over Will Levis.
Honestly, though.
Give me the if I've had the top 5 pick and you say you have got to get a quarterback, Bryce Young's gone, CJ Stroud's gone, and you said take your gut feeling, give me the fucking mailman.
Yes.
Give me the mailman.
I want a guy who can go out there and win, bro.
I like the pedigree, the swagger that he has. I like that even though he's undersized, you don't care. He's got wheels. He's pretty mobile. And honestly, he does make some questionable passes. But at the same time, when you're up 30, you can make those throws without having to worry about it. You know what I mean?
So does a guy who throw 23 picks in 2 years.
It's just,
you might as well take the winner.
Like for me, it's just a lot of the times his best games were against like horrible teams. Like when he played good teams, he got exposed. And then like, man, I'm telling you, I know you can't base everything off of one thing. I went back and watched the Vanderbilt game from this year. Vandy, Kentucky. Go watch it if you haven't. That dude against Vandy completed 47% of his passes for 100 yards in a pick.
Like 100 yards exactly?
Dude, you say
109.
It's like trauma. It's like Vietnam flashbacks when you say Vanderbilt.
Yeah, like it's just, and then against Tennessee this year, a big game. Kentucky's coming in there. I believe there were 5 or 6-1 coming off a rank win over Mississippi State. Completes 59% of his passes for 98 yards and 3 interceptions.
Oh my God.
And this is a guy that's going to be the first pick in the draft. And hear me out. If you take the name off and take the measurables, give me Lindsey Scott. over Will Levis.
Right.
Right now, give
Right.
me Tim DeMoret over Will Levis. Like, man, the fact that this kid's getting this much hype is sickening. I've watched the film, and listen, my little sister's dating a Kentucky fan, and I'm about had to take him outside for the Will because he is saying Will Levis is going to be the next Peyton Manning. It is
Oh
so
my God.
aggravating. Will
But listen,
Levis is so bad.
if you know Kentucky fans, I was born in Kentucky, so I have half my family that is Big Blue Nation. That's why I have a soft spot. I'm a Gator guy all the way through and through every single sport. Got a soft spot for basketball. Always will, because of the bond that I had with watching Big Blue basketball games and stuff. But if you actually ever meet a real Kentucky fan, when they have somebody that comes through like that, dude, it is Jesus Christ.
They ride for
Walking
him, bro.
on water in Kroger
like
Field. I
Kobe.
swear to God.
I'm talking
I
about
swear to
Jackson
God.
State loyalty to Shador
No,
type.
like they,
Oh
like,
my God.
dude,
It's
nah.
crazy.
say some
Oh,
slick
yeah.
shit. Say some slick shit in the grocery store, and I swear they're gonna try to fight you. I promise.
No, listen, and y'all
I
get a crack
promise.
out of this. This can be an early. This could be an early overreaction, underreaction. Shout out to Austin, man. I still love you, man. This dude bet like $1,000 that Kentucky was going to win the SEC and make the college football playoff before 2026.
What?
My boy needs to just get that. I don't know what he does for a living, but he needs to go ahead and pick up that part-time job, deliver it
I
to
swear.
and recuperate that $1,000 and just forget about the bet, bro.
Bro, sign up for all the overtime right now, bro. You're losing that $1,000.
Yeah, for real. For real. Next time somebody says, "Yo, you want to pick up your shift?" You better say yes, my boy.
Yes.
Bro, pick it up, bro.
And he bet me 400 that Kentucky will beat Georgia and Bama next year.
I'm telling you, boy. I'm telling you, loyal
Bro,
Kentucky
where's
fans.
he getting?
Loyal Kentucky fans are delusional, bro.
400. They go to Athens this year, and he bet me $400 they're gonna win that game.
I admire the loyalty, but oh my God, like there has to be a line somewhere. All right, so Will Levis, we heard Mel Kiper's thoughts. Let's say he goes out and he has a great showing at the combine and at the pro day, and they make him do that throw at the pro day when he has to spin out of the pocket, roll to the left or to the right, and just throw it, just off of full strength, because they love that pass for some reason. And Zach Wilson killed it, and that's what it really propelled him. Let's just say they do that, and somebody's actually crazy enough to take this man number 1 overall.
Well, that's the thing. Like you're saying right now, I'm pretty sure the three of us know it's going to happen. He's going to go to the combine. They're going to put him on the scale. They're going to bring out all the measurements abilities. He's going to jump. They're going to measure his hands. They're going to do everything. And they're going to say, on paper, this guy has all the statistics that have nothing to do with what you do on the field.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to happen. He's going to measure well. He might be throwing some pretty good throws, 25, 30 yarders. One thing to watch with Will Levis, though, and I promise you that's going to be one of those things, like you said, watch that deep ball.
Right. And here's my thing. I don't hate Will Levis. And
he can spin it.
I feel bad I really feel bad for him, because I know how this is gonna play out with him. But if I'm his agent, I'm gonna make him show off that arm talent all
I'm trying to get that commission, my boy.
Well, here's the kicker. This should tell you everything you need to know about a kid. He turned down every All-Star game and every ability to show his talent this postseason. He's only throwing at the pro day. He's not throwing at the combine.
Oh no.
He's only throwing at the pro day. He turned down the Senior Bowl, East-West Shrine game. Like, he knows that if he goes out there and if he goes out there and tries to play, his stock's dropping. Why not? I don't need to show you anything. Just go draft me top 5 and then have the biggest bust of all time.
You know what? This literally is giving me Bo Callahan vibes from Draft Day, if you've seen that movie.
Yes.
This is giving me that same. I don't like that. Like, the fact that you told me that, Blue, that's a red flag. Automatically, he's off my board. That's crazy.
Dude, all I can say is I don't got to worry about my team doing no dumb shit like that, because we're picking at 19, and hopefully he's gone. Because if we're at 19 and they say, all right, we're going with a quarterback, and we get Will Levis, I promise to you, I'm pulling the jersey out of my closet. I'm going to tell everybody I was an Eagles fan my whole life.
Hey, this is why I'm glad my team cheated and got their pick taken away. I
My
don't
man.
trust the Dolphins in the draft anyway. I'm glad we don't have a first round pick. I'm glad y'all took it.
You would have
Especially
drafted Will Levis.
Yeah, I'm glad
Yeah.
because Tua is going to be in concussion protocol till 2027. We were gonna do something stupid, and I'm just so glad we just got out of our own way.
Bro,
Hey, there is Lamar Jackson hype to Miami. Who
I'll be
knows?
so happy.
Hey,
I will be so happy.
he's a dude. He's a Broward boy. I'm telling you, that's close to home. That means he gets to have Kodak at the games.
Man,
True.
listen, if the Super Bowl comes down to a 40, y'all don't want to see us. Tyreek, Waddle, Lamar, Raheem Mostert.
That's crazy.
Don't call me. Don't call me because you don't want to pick up.
No, no, I don't have any. Literally, there's nobody on my NFL team that is even in the same conversation for speed as them. Nobody.
No.
It's going to be insane.
Nope.
I'm so excited. And then on defense, you still got Xavier and Javon Holland's an animal.
All right, so I want to talk about Cormani McClain. We're gonna talk about him in Colorado, but first him in On3, right? Blue, I know you know some people. You work with On3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, you work. Now, I want to know, because I don't want to jump to conclusions. I see people on social media like, oh, they hated on him. I saw one person specifically accused On3 of dropping him that far down simply because y'all didn't have the easiest time figuring out where he was going. Like, he gave people a runaround or something crazy like that. But what are your thoughts on Cormani McClain dropping down to a 4-star? I think he dropped something crazy like 40-something spots.
Yeah, he dropped to I think he's 46th overall. He's like a borderline 4 or 5 star.
So like, what are your thoughts on that, man, with On3?
He got jumped by Jakeem Jackson, who's a Florida commit, and Jakeem Jackson at the what was it, Under Armour game?
One of those All-Star games.
One of the All-Star games, he was getting talked about like, why is he not the number one corner? You know what I'm saying? Like, he was out there. They're saying like, size-wise, this kid's like, he's there, whatever. I've always thought Cormani McClain's good. Don't get me wrong. But I also feel like the amount of hype he's gotten for so many years leading up to him finally being able to go to college is like, bro, he was total diva. Like, total diva. Like, this,
but
like,
see, I feel like
Justin Flo flashbacks almost.
Like, I think people's problems with it is like, he dropped in the offseason. Like, there's no game tape for you to go off of. Like,
well, they base it off the camps. The camps. There's been a bunch of camps all the recruits have to go to. Like, these guys, like,
you got
if you don't go to the camps, you get dropped. If you're not putting yourself up against the top talent or you're not performing well at the camps, you get dropped. And I know, On3 went crazy. Like, I don't think the kid should have dropped 44 spots, but everybody dropped them. 247, Rivals, On3, ESPN. I mean, he went from being the number 1-2 recruit in the country to outside the top 10 in everyone's rankings. Like, everybody dropped him. Like, On3 just was the most extreme. Now, I asked someone at On3 today about it, and they said that, listen, they were like, we have our reasons, and that's kind of how they put it. And they said, but we will say this, and we'll defend ourselves, is that everyone who acts like a diva during their recruitment, like 80% of those kids end up being bust.
Ooh.
I would say the 46 spots, I believe, the drop is a little bit steep.
Yeah, for sure.
He is an absolute talent. I mean, an absolute talent. Don't get me wrong. And he's going to go get coached by one of the greatest ever at his position, which people can talk my head off saying that, oh, well, Prime is the best corner of all time. You can make arguments. You can definitely make arguments. But I think that him and Travis Hunter are going to go off sailing at the Fairyland. We're going to see him playing on Sundays, man, so it really don't matter about –
yeah.
He's signed, he's enrolled. Rankings don't mean nothing, bro. Go there, get in the weight room, eat, and go out there. And when it comes to Saturdays, man, make sure you're prepared and get out there and do it.
Yeah, emphasis on that weight room. Emphasis on that weight room.
He's small.
He's thick, man.
He's tiny.
When he came out.
Question for you, and obviously Blue too, because you're very big into following Jackson State as well. Was it resources? Because you saw these talents of these kids coming in, and you didn't see a lot of them gaining frames.
With Jackson State?
With Jackson State. Like
Like
I
with
thought
players.
Travis Hunter looks like he's been the same size since
he was hurt like for what
like
till like
most of the year.
October. So like he couldn't do anything.
But I will say though, Travis did get a lot bigger from what he was when he first came out of high school.
Yeah.
Like if you put up a side by side comparison to him at his final year in high school to him at Jackson State, you can see the difference. But it wasn't, he was hurt for most of the year, so there's not really much you can do with that.
The comment from Boom was he acting like so much like a diva to the media exacerbate it? The media did hype it up because they did make every single post for a couple of days talking about, well, hold on, is he not going to Miami? And then they try to do the whole thing. I think the media just caught him at the right time to be able to do that with Prime having smoke to go somewhere. You know what I mean? That was D1. So, I would definitely wanted to comment on that comment for sure.
But yeah, I think there's too many players that did get bigger. Like, Niles Gaddy put on like 40 pounds.
Yes.
It felt like before last season. Aubrey put on some size. Shador put on a lot of size from freshman to sophomore year as well. So I would say the reason Travis, you didn't see that kind of development in Travis because he had surgery in the offseason, which the offseason is a crucial time to really put on a lot of weight. And then, man, he didn't play till the Campbell game?
Right.
What's his comeback game?
No, I think he played in the first game at FAMU.
Yeah, he played at FAMU. Yeah, well, he played the whole game, but remember Prime, he kind of lied to Prime and said that he was better than he was. He said it on the documentary, but then they held him out all the way up until the Campbell game. So I think that really hurt him because even Travis said that playing in that FAMU game set him back.
Right. And he played well then. You feel me? Like he was locked down then. So just imagine if he just would have waited till he was healthy. But when it comes to Cormani and Travis at Colorado, the amount of quarterbacks, especially with DJ Uyunglele now being in the Pac-12, is crazy. So has Prime done enough by getting taking Travis back and getting Cormani for the upcoming season? Has he done enough to put himself up against DJ Uyunglele, Utah's quarterback, Caleb Williams, Bo Nix? Has he done enough, or is he gonna need more? Because I don't think Shiloh's gonna be able to help you much. I don't think Cam ain't gonna be able to help you much. And when it comes to pass, when it comes to being against the pass, the run sure, but against the pass, no. So it's like, do you think it's enough, or do you think he's gonna need a lot more for this upcoming season?
I think all of us can agree. Any coach taking having to put together a transition class and go into an entire program where obviously Prime went in and let everybody know if you want to leave, because I'm bringing people with me anyway, and he's still gonna probably fill a couple more spots in the portal here.
Yeah, he just got a kid from UTSA, another DB.
So, he's gonna keep doing his thing, but at the same time, it's if he can get this season, Travis Hunter probably declares. If he can get him for 2 years, I think that there's definitely some smoke there. But at the same time, you have to look at what's the pressure going to be looking like on the front seven, and on top of that, who's the safety help? Because if you can't. I think that everybody in the world would rather say, instead of 2 lockdown corners, give me a lockdown corner and an average guy on the other side, and give me a dog over the top, like whether it be a free safety or a strong safety. Give me somebody who's a dog that can back up my number 1. So if the number 2 is already going to be, a liability, I'll take that safety help. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Waves is crazy. I agree with him. I definitely agree with him. But listen, I think the secondary might look good, but offensive line, I really am not super excited about, to be honest with you. Looking at the guys they got, defensive line, I don't think they have a bona fide pass rusher. They didn't land either of the top guys from Jackson State in terms of edge threats.
True.
I don't love linebacker.
They were very subpar.
Yeah, people are forgetting, this is even a bigger rebuild than when Prime got to Jackson.
Way bigger.
This team was a bottom 5 team in the entire country. He's gonna need another year. They don't have enough. We'll just keep it that simple.
And the schedule is what makes it so brutal, man. Who designed that?
So another question for you guys, on top of what I feel like, because we kind of just answered it. What do you think the prediction is for their record?
I don't see them winning more than 3 games.
I was about to say I was going to say it's probably a stretch at 4, and there could be a fluke in there where maybe they can get to 5. But I think 4 wins is probably going to be their reality here soon.
I agree. Max is 5. I would aim probably about 4. They're not. They're just not on that level yet.
I mean, and on top of that, he's coming in when he's got, like you said, there's guys that can spin the football that you got to play week in and week out there. It's going to be tough.
Now, credit to him because his transfer portal class is what, top 5?
Yeah.
Maybe I just don't see it. He didn't even get Willis Patrick, who went to TCU. Like that would have been a good get. Like he got people, but he missed on people from his own former school. So it's like I don't know, man. I don't know.
Their transfer portal class is second, and the funny part is they're second behind in conference foe UCLA.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, I don't see that. I don't see him winning more than 2 games. But we'll see, man. He could surprise us all. And that was actually going to be my last question. That we already talked about it. So let's get straight to the overreaction. Not an overreaction, so we can end the show. Now, this first one comes from Joel Klatt on his show, right? He says the Pac-12 is by far the best quarterback conference in college football now.
Preseason, yes.
Off of what was the context in what he was talking about? Over just the last year, or are we talking about a couple years?
Going based off what they did last year, going into next season with the addition of DJ Uyunglele, their conference has the best quarterbacks in the conference. Like that's what he said.
I'll agree on that. I thought we were talking about over the last landscape of maybe a couple years, but going into this season and what was happening last year, I 100% agree.
Yeah, because I mean, you look at the SEC, Ole Miss, average returner. Jaden Daniels coming back for LSU is huge. A&M's a dumpster fire. Auburn's a dumpster fire. Tennessee, we'll see what Joe Milton performed well in the bowl game, but not a historically proven starter for an entire season. Mississippi State, we'll see what happens. Now that they'll have a new offensive staff. Florida, dumpster fire at quarterback. No offense, man. Stetson's gone. Alabama's replacing a new quarterback. There's just too many questions in the SEC. The Big Ten, they're wanting a good quarterback outside of CJ Stroud in the Big Ten, really. So, I mean, dumpster fire. Big 12, you would have an argument if Duggan was coming back. But when you look at the Pac-12, Delora transferred to Arizona. UCLA's bringing in a 5-star quarterback. USC's got Caleb Williams, former Heisman winner. Bo Nix just had a historic year at Oregon, his best year of his career. Michael Penix led the country in passing from Washington. Cameron Ward's at Washington State. Cam Rising's coming back to Utah. Shador Sanders, who is one of the top transfers from the FCS, is starting at Colorado. Man, what else do you need?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously. Now, the next one also comes from Joel. Colorado will be competing for a conference title after next season.
We'll see.
That's steep.
Can I hold on it? It's a little bit of an overreaction. I just want to see, give me a baseline this year. Because if they come out, let's just say worst case, they go 1-11. Bro, no way they're competing next season for a conference title. But if they go 5-7, 6-6 best case, then yeah, probably.
Okay. All right. Last one. DJ Uyunglele will have Oregon State in a Pac-12 championship.
Throw it away. Who said that?
Whoever said that, I hope you don't get no Christmas presents. I hope you
That's ridiculous.
I hope you got to go to the dentist for some random reason, and it's your health insurance covers it still, but at the same time, it's just one of those things that just a pain in your ass or whatever. I don't like you. Whoever said that. When you were sitting here talking about the Pac-12, you're like, we got in an addition DJ Ugle. I'm like, bro, he couldn't get it done at Clemson. He had way better talent surrounding him there.
Hey, those were not my words,
bro. That dude. Listen, I respect all my Clemson friends. Know I respect Clemson. I respect everything going around him. But after being around so many people that I'm close with and having to watch these guys week in and week out literally say, we could lose this game, and they're playing against a team that they should probably beat by 30, and they're going out there and they're within 7, maybe 10, is like, dude, that's a world of hurt, and I feel bad, dude. That guy, he's probably a good human being. He's probably a good stand-up dude, bro. But that dude is hot dog water.
I actually think a change of scenery would be good for him. I actually think he should have went further out back to the West Coast and just be around it, like be around his family and your old friends, and like maybe things could change for you there. I thought him going to Clemson was way too much.
Did y'all really pay attention to him?
Huh? Yeah.
Did you pay attention to him? Like, did you watch how he reads defenses and stuff?
Yeah.
He's a one-read pony. If the first read isn't there, the play is over. The play's over. It doesn't matter if somebody becomes open or nothing, dude. He's a one-read pony. If the first read's not there, dude, it's panic mode. You can tell.
Well, I mean, so I'll say this. Like, the Pac-12 championship was a bit of a stretch, but they could be good. I mean, they were ranked in the top 25 at the end of last year for most of the season. Like, they could be good, but there's no way I can pick them over Oregon right now, over USC, over Utah.
Wave said good human being in the comments with the skull emoji. He probably is a good dude, bro. I'm just saying he doesn't spin the rock like a lot of those guys, dude.
Oh man. Okay. All right. I think somebody had a question, Chris Hollis. For Alabama, do you think Milroe steps up? To be honest, he looks like a damn linebacker.
I got to see more of his passing ability. He struggled at times.
Yeah.
Pushing the football down the field. Like electric. I mean, he's made of pure electricity when he gets outside the pocket. He's going to be an issue. But
he be Cam Newton vibes.
Yeah, like I need to see him be a bit more consistent in terms of just his passing technique and fundamentals and things like that. And we'll see if it develops. If I would imagine if Saban's not comfortable at the end of spring practice, he'll tell you because he's going to go get a quarterback out of the portal.
That's my other question is what's I know he wasn't a 5-star, but I think he was on the brink of being maybe within maybe a couple spots. What is their highly rated 4-star?
Ty Simpson is the quarterback that you're thinking of.
Is it? I'm trying to think.
Yeah, he was the 4-star quarterback who just signed with Bama.
Tall, lanky kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It'd be tough to throw him to the Wolves, but hey, they have success with freshman quarterbacks.
You know what? That talking about quarterback, I actually have one more question for y'all before we go. What's your opinion on that Marcus Stokes kid who got in? You know exactly who I'm talking about, Clay. You that Marcus who got in trouble for rapping along, and he said the N-word, and scholarship got pulled, and now ironically, 2 HBCUs offer him a scholarship. One
Albany pulled it today.
State. What do you think this is like? Publicity, like is like what is this? What we doing? Do you think they seriously want Marcus Stokes? Like, what are your thoughts on this?
Listen, the staff. So obviously, I pay attention obviously to my team, obviously more than others, which I feel like you're supposed to. So, the staff was pretty high on the kid because he wanted to come there, and they thought, okay, this is going to be our first take in a class, so where we can do that. There was never smoke for as long as he was committed that we were going to guarantee Rashada, and we didn't. We don't have Rashada. He was going to be our first 5-star in X amount of years. We didn't land him. But another thing that I think played a little bit of part of that is we have a guy who's going to be better than him coming in soon. DJ Lagway. He's going to be a problem. He's playing baseball at Florida at the same time he's going to be playing football. He's a pure athlete. Dude, whenever they pulled his scholarship, dude, half the fan base was like, oh, hold on. What are we going to do now? And then seeing the aftermath of it, I get it, man. You're a young kid. You make mistakes. You know that you're in a place of notoriety. You understand that cameras are going to be on you. People are going to screenshot things. People are going to show it to other people. And at the end of the day, you with where you're going and what you were headed to, you can't afford to make a mistake like that. And you can't also do that because it's not okay. But I think it's more of a publicity thing of
Because like the Albany State is a Division II school, so I felt like that was kind of a maybe it's like okay if nobody else wants them, we forget him saying the N-word. If we can get him, we'll get him. They're a Division
It's confusing
school.
Though. It's definitely confusing.
Right. It's confusing, but Alabama A&M, I don't know what to think about it. I don't know. It doesn't look like it's going to be on
Albany
FBS
pulled
level.
it. Albany pulled their scholarship today.
Oh, okay.
And the coach released like a apology letter or something like that on social media.
I think the best thing for that kid is going to be to go JUCO to whatever place is willing to give him a home. And if he can go out there and ball and maybe get some looks, man, hit that portal and maybe try to get yourself back on the track that you think if he has that ability. I mean, who knows if the guy's even good enough to play Division I football? You know what I mean?
Right. But see, I don't like that though from Albany. If you're gonna have the cojones to offer this man, stick with it. Don't pull it because everybody is giving you flack. Like they only care about this because of what the kid did anyway. Like you got to keep that scholarship. Let him retain that scholarship. But that's just me. But listen, man, y'all got anything to say on that before we go?
No.
Where's our last one that we had when we were texting about topics?
Well, I think we talked about that earlier though. That was
the PFF rankings.
Oh my bro, I completely forgot to include that.
I think Blue will agree with me on who I think should definitely be in the top 3.
Right. So Pro Football Focus had a top 5 that include my main thing with their top 5 players for this past season was that Marvin Harrison Jr. just missed it at number 6. Bijan Robinson was at number 4? That was my problem. Why is Marvin Harrison Jr. not top? How did he not finish top 5 for Pro Football Focus?
So the order was PFF final top 5 college player rankings in college football. Caleb Williams at 1, Blake Corum at 2, right. Jalen Carter at 3, Bijan Robinson at 4, Bryce Young at 5.
That's my problem. Bijan Robinson over Marvin Harrison Jr.
No, absolutely not, because Marvin Harrison Jr. was much more of an impact to his team, and he holds more value to the team. Take Marvin Harrison away from the team, take Bijan Robinson away from the team. Yeah, Bijan Robinson might have been really one of their only true playmakers. I mean, Xavier Worthy's pretty nice, but
well, so if I'm not mistaken, these aren't like a writer or people like ranking these guys. These are just purely analytics. So it's like, so if you take a totality of a player, like if Marvin Harrison Jr. was getting his ass beat on blocking, that could tank his grade and he might miss a top 5 spot because he don't block well. Like this is like a totality offensive grade. So it includes like blocking, running, receiving, like it's like a total like grade for the season. And so the fact that Bijan Robinson does so much and probably has a ridiculous run grade, a ridiculous pass, receiving grade, that probably gave him the edge over some other players because he's so versatile.
On that note, Blue, where do you think a healthy Hendon Hooker would have laid?
I don't. I know he. When I previewed the Georgia, no, not top. He'd probably be top 10, top 15.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see. All right, so hey, there you have it. This was another episode of FBS Fridays. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Probably the most people we had since we started this series, man. So I appreciate y'all tuning in. We're going to continue to get more people in here as we continue to talk about more topics. But with that being said, man, I'm Kobe. This is Clay. This is Blue. Y'all know where to find them on social media. But if you don't, it will be in the description. We are out. Peace.